Hello, 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 Facebook, hello, LinkedIn, and hello, YouTube. My name is Linda Murray Bullard. They call me the business plug. And go ahead and get you something to write with, get you a drink, because this is going to be a great session. I have brought my new buddy here to talk to us about artificial intelligence. Like we've been hearing about that for a minute. So before I start telling us and we go deeper into that conversation, I got a couple of things I need to tell you about. So if you are a new or a struggling business and you're wanting to know more about how to get the business side of your business done, open enrollment is happening right now for the Build Your Own Business 12-week course. You pay $50 down. It's going to hold you a seat. You get a one-on-one with me, and the classes actually start on May the 27th. The classes are all online, all the materials online. I have access to the Kauffman Foundation's fabulous Fast Track program, which is an evidence based business curriculum that's going to help you learn the business side of doing business. So that link is in the description where you're watching this video. Also, if you would like to be on the Business Plugs Mixer, then that link is in the description of this video as well. So now that I've done my housekeeping, it's time for me to introduce you to my new friend, Jen Mason, who blew me away the first day. Craziness, crazy. So I teach math. I teach math. I teach adults who want to get their GED math. And we ran into a problem. And my girl was like, "Girl, let me show you something." And in a few minutes, she had not even minutes, it was seconds. She showed me how to use artificial intelligence to answer my pre-calc question. And I was blown away. I was blown away. So, hello, Jen. How are you? I think
Sorry,
this
I'm muted. Sorry.
we're
um,
online, right?
yeah, I'm very excited to talk to people about this because I think it's going to be again, as I was telling you when we first met, I think it's a very useful tool and it's very important, especially for small and medium-sized businesses to really take and to utilize these kinds of tools, to really close the gap between what they can do versus what some of the bigger people can do. So I'm excited.
Absolutely. I'm blown away. I'm blown away. Like I use it for just about anything with letters. It is a jump start when I can't think on the days I'm having brain fog, and it makes great content to start from scratch and get you to thinking a certain way. And it's been very useful for me. So tell them about you. Who is Jen and what is Creative Devs?
Okay, so I own a design and development agency. We do everything from graphic design to making, designing and developing websites and designing and developing apps. We're a team of only women of color. Of course, it's Black owned. It's owned by me. And we like to work specifically with. We like to work mostly with Black and Brown owned businesses because we like to do things that uplift community, and it's one of our big priorities. We'll work with anybody, but we do like to do a lot of community projects, of course,
I love
first
that.
and foremost.
Well, I love that because when I'm teaching classes, most times I'm teaching to your public, and they need support in websites and understanding marketing content and all of that. So you have all the things that can take a business from an idea to getting seen, getting heard, and so I think that's wonderful.
Yeah, it's kind of we started actually just doing design and development of websites, but I started bringing more people or connecting with more people for the team because I saw the need and kind of like there's not a lot of people of color within the media space, and sometimes you need people. Not sometimes we need people who see us as people, especially when we're thinking about marketing ideas and how to get our ideas out there. People who can kind of visualize with you and who have
Yeah.
cultural competency.
Absolutely, absolutely. I love that. I love that. I love that. And so I told her that I did my homework. I did my homework in preparing for this interview because like I'm just learning a lot about IA myself. And so I went and asked, what are the top 10 questions that people have about IA? So when you talk about artificial intelligence, what is it? Because we were just talking about Chat GPT. So what is artificial intelligence?
Um, so artificial intelligence is, of course, it's literally what it is, like the idea of having intelligence created artificially or by a computer. I would say ChatGPT and the tools that we have now, we like to use the term artificial intelligence. They're not really artificial intelligence, right? Because what they're doing is they're building off knowledge of people and kind of creating and generating ideas based on what they expect us to think of. So when ChatGPT comes up with a poem or a haiku, right? What it's doing is it's studied and learned from many different variations of haikus, and it's putting together what it believes a haiku should look like.
Mm.
So this is why it's still kind of we still need it still needs human input to create output. Uh,
Hmm.
Artificial intelligence as we imagine it in movies and this kind of thing, we're still a bit of ways. But AI as we're using it now, it's more generative predictive text, generative predictive imagery, and this kind of thing. But it's very useful and it's helpful.
Absolutely, absolutely, because we're going from zero to something, right? And
Mhm.
so yeah, and so that was the thing is, do you think so? You were talking about the true artificial intelligence, like what we see on TV, right? And when I was reading this story, when I was doing my homework, it said in 2018 there was a question about how close are we to, they call that AGI,
Mhm.
artificial general information, into
Mhm.
artificial general intelligence. And so when you think about that, like to me, the fact that I can put in a question that's complicated and get a simplistic answer, using prompts. You taught me about prompts.
Yes.
You
We'll
taught me
call it
about
prompt
prompts.
engineering. We did a little
Yes.
prompt engineering.
Yeah. So what is prompt engineer? What is that?
Uh, so one of the things I noticed, even with people who had been familiar with ChatGPT and some of these other tools, is that when they were starting to talk to it, they were trying to think of it in other tools that we have already, kind of like Google, right? So they're asking it, in what year was Henry V born, and that kind of thing, instead of understanding that this tool, you can talk to it more intuitively. The great thing about this is that you do not have to be a computer expert. You do not have to be some person who has a PhD in computer sciences or anything like this. You can be a regular person who wants to ask a very intuitive question from any later. I guess we can talk about some of the examples, or if you when you want, to give some people some idea of what that looks like. But let's say that if I wanted ChatGPT, for example, let's say I'm getting ready for working with a client, and I don't know a lot about what kinds of questions I should have prepared, right? Because ChatGPT has such a large library of information that it looks through and then it pieces together, it can make good predictions about what kinds of questions a person in your client's field or that you should be prepared to answer for that client or even help you to answer those. So I might ask ChatGPT, hey, my business is XYZ business, right? We do XYZ tasks. We do all of these things. I am approaching client from this company. This company does, all of these tasks. What are some questions I should come prepared with? What are some ways in which I could be better ready, or even what kinds of what kinds of failings do you think that this kind of company I should be ready to plug for this company, or I should be ready to approach this company about. Maybe you're doing a cold emailing thing, right? I've used ChatGPT to create really good cold emails.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Sounds really messed up, but like with some of the, because even some of the people, me and my friend, she also has, she's a woman of color owned UI UX team, and we're trying to approach new companies together. We've done a few projects together. When we wanted to make some emails and stuff together, we actually used ChatGPT. We plugged into it what my company does, we plugged into it what her company does, and we got some really good feedback of how would be best and some ideas of how we should best approach each type of client we were going to,
Mm.
instead of spending hours, which
Yeah. Yeah.
it would normally take
Exactly.
to approach a new client. So this is where Google is going to give you a list of websites to look through. This is showing you right there and then, one, two, three, four, five. These are questions that you should be able to
Exactly.
be able to answer.
I love it. I love it. And I've used it. So I asked, what are some of the questions that nonprofits need in order to start, right? And it
Mhm.
gave me a list, 9 things that if you're starting a nonprofit, these are the 9 things that you need to know. And I was able to take that and create my, because adding what it gave me with my own experience,
Mhm.
I was able to do a whole training packet off
Mhm.
just that, what it gave me. It's a great starter of information. And so it doesn't matter what field you're in. Like you were saying, taking your friend that has the user experience and combining it with what you're doing, and then it telling you these are the things you all should do when you're doing cold emails. I love
Mhm.
it. I
Yeah.
love it.
And there's besides ChatGPT, I think we also I think when I spoke with you too, there was also Site Explainer, which also helps to make it even easier.
Okay, we did to me.
Oh, we did tell me. So Site Explainer, can I type in the chat
Yes,
here? Will it go up to everybody? Okay, so
sure.
I'm going to give a few things because I realize sometimes what I'll just start talking about the AI and realize they don't know the website to get on there. So maybe it's best if we, put the website there for everyone. Um, the two sites that I think are the best for people who have businesses who need to, who work with other businesses or who are trying to approach other businesses, ChatGPT and Site Explainer. Site Explainer is a website where you will put in the website of the client or of yourself. You put it in there and it spits out like a paragraph that will describe who you are, what
Mm,
kinds of clients you serve, and the kinds of services you do.
I love
Um,
it.
ChatGPT and these large language models, because again, they don't know who you are. So you need to give them an idea. So the more information you can give them, the better. So I will take an explanation, a description that I get from Site Explainer, copy paste, put into Chat GPT. I'll say, I want you to work as a business consultant. This is my company. My company is this, and use the Site Explainer explanation. I'm approaching this company, and use again the Site Explainer explanation of that one. It's yeah, these are the to me the two best,
I love it. I
the
love it.
ultimate necessary.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
love it. I love it. And so if you can use, so you can take the information, like I just like asking questions just to ask questions. Because when it first started, they had the disclaimer that it didn't do math when it first started. And then,
Mhm.
they say, well, it can do basic math, but not complex math. But you proved to me that they upgraded, and the more people use it, the more it's learning. And so, and that's the thing, it's learning as it is performing. I love, love, love. Yeah, like I said, I use it for content. I tell it who I'm talking to, what their learning level is probably going to be,
Mhm.
and then what information do they need to understand. And then I even had it to tell me, if you were running an ad on this, what would the ad say? So it it
Yeah,
spit
you can
out a,
even ask this. So I love what you mentioned there because I would have forgotten. But yeah, you can tell it what level to talk to people. If you are because sometimes you're talking to a client who already has a background information about the kind of thing that you do, and sometimes you don't, as you mentioned. If I'm writing to general public, general newspaper things, we're talking about an eighth grade reading level. So I
right.
can tell ChatGPT, rewrite this blog, rewrite this whatever at eighth grade level. If I'm talking to people who are also in my field, write this as though you are an expert in development. You already know these basic, and have
Yeah,
it spat out. Like if you're doing copy and things like this, ChatGPT is your best friend. Um, it gets better the more knowledgeable and the more information you can get into it. So it's definitely not going to replace if you're a person who's looking to completely get rid of copywriting space in general, that's not going to happen because you still need to know things to be able to put stuff in, right? Because it's not, again, it's just it is a generative tool. It's using based on the library and it's using based on your own information to create something new. So if you're an expert in your field, if you're a person who's looking just to expand the copy that you can do based on your information, best tool, 100%.
absolutely. Absolutely. I love it because I always use it for like the ground zero, because sometimes just getting started is the problem, right?
Mhm.
And if
Yes.
it, just the getting started part. But then if you can use it, so if I have followers, some of them are business owners, but also some of them are career focused, right? And so
Mhm.
trying to have conversations, let's say you're going for your ideal job. And I know people have, I just interviewed some teens a week ago, and they were talking about, you always need to, when they ask you, do you have any questions? this is a
Mhm.
great place to grab questions to ask before
Mhm.
you go to that interview, right?
Yeah.
Because it's going to have you thinking like,
Yeah, what
yeah,
kinds of questions should I ask this person? What kinds of
absolutely.
questions, what would be the most valuable for me, right? Because sometimes, people get on the spot, as you said, like, and they don't know what's happening, or they don't know how to seem. You want to seem engaged and you want to seem with it, but maybe not knowing where to begin. Even for some of my friends who are writers, they might use this to think of scenarios and things. I'm writing XYZ type of story. Can you give me a scenario, or those kinds of things? Mhm.
But yeah, so she's going to show you, Laura. She's going to type them in the chat. So we're
Mhm.
gonna we're gonna
Oh,
actually I'll copy and paste, no problem. I
okay.
got it.
Mhm.
I got it. I don't know why it does that. That's the one thing I don't like about it,
Mhm.
is it doesn't allow you to put it in. Hold on, and I just copied it to the. There we go. So those are the two sites that she's mentioned. I've actually put them in the chat. So if you have a question about them, like, those are the two ways of getting to a chat GPT, and they have free versions, right? So the free version, I have, I was talking. I think we were together when the young lady said, "Well, yeah, it won't let you go over 20 hours."
Yeah, so I would highly recommend, honestly, if you're creating a lot of copy, if you're going to be using it frequently, like if you have a lot of for me personally, I work with a lot of different clients in different fields. Sometimes we're doing things for social media, sometimes we're doing newsletters and things like this. I'm not magical. I can't be an expert in everything. So it does help me. I know where to get information. You can even get ChatGPT to summarize articles from links that you give it, and ask
Mhm.
it, can you please do this kind of task to bring things together, to give you a summary of 6 articles together, form an opinion, and give you some things like this.
I love
I
it.
would highly recommend, if you're using it frequently like that, the the free version works, the paid version is magic. Like, it's like,
See, yeah, see, and that's the
life
thing,
changing.
and I love paying for tools that are going to be useful, right?
Mhm,
Because there are a lot of tools, and you can really go down that tool thing and forget to cancel a lot of them that you really are not using. But if this is one you're going to use, if you're doing content, if on your social media platform, if you're using social media, if you are somebody who's creating content for somebody else who's using social media, then it just makes sense to have the subscription.
mhm,
Yeah,
100%.
I
Yeah.
agree. I agree. I agree with that 100%. So, looking at my questions, look, I forgot about my questions, but you've answered most of them. You've answered most of them. So, will it steal our jobs?
I think what's going to happen going forward is, honestly, there's going to be 2 types of people. There's people who utilize these new tools, and there's people who won't. The people who won't, or who refuse to, I'm sorry. It's again, using these kinds of tools is not going to be super complicated for you. It's just going to be a different way to ask questions, and this is going to make you faster and do your job more streamlined, right? So
Yeah,
behooves you to learn it. If you, because again, when I think about, graphing calculators did not replace the mathematician, right? A tractor
absolutely.
did not replace the farmer. These tools still exist alongside these other things. Let's look at bank tellers and ATMs. They still exist out there, right? Will this tool is going to, if anything, cut down on the amount of hours that we need to work each day. If anything, it's going to, when I think about the kinds of things that these big companies can do versus what these smaller companies can do, uh, uh, I'm in love with this. Like, every single small business owner that I know, I have been calling them up, going over with them. This is how you use it. This is how you make your workday smarter, not
Yeah,
harder, right?
yeah,
I don't even
absolutely.
for my employees, I tell them, like, if you can get all of your work done in 3 or 4 days a week, I don't care. Go home, do
Just get,
whatever you need.
yeah, live your
Yeah,
life. And that's the
yeah.
thing, right? And so people are so concerned about, is it replacing us? Well, I mean, to me, you said there are two type of people. It is the same thing with computers. I taught computers to people because back in the 90s, people thought you had to be super smart to use a
Mhm,
computer. Now everybody's using computers on their phones,
mhm,
and it's a common thing, right?
yeah.
But you still have people who don't have a cell phone and who have not adapted to computers.
Mhm.
and they will be with us always. but
Yeah, they're
but
gonna have much harder time finding certain jobs because you can do silly things with a computer. A computer can be your or even these tools can be your biggest ally or your if you want to paint it as an enemy. I mean, people are more than willing to. That's fine. Other people will be sitting behind them, you
yeah,
know.
yeah,
Um,
exactly. So it just depends on how advancing you want to be as an employee. If you think about working, like this is what work is going to look like
mhm.
more results based than hours based, right? So the 40-hour week. Like if you can get it done in 3 hours, I don't need you for 40 hours.
Yeah, and you know, I'm hoping what this will do is also make, I mean, I don't know, in my hippie desire, this will turn into a greater conversation about like universal basic income and other ways to do that. But anyways, it's even going to create, we don't even know the kinds of new jobs this is going to create. You know, now we're seeing people where prompt engineering is literally a job that people can have. And we're not even talking it's like a small job. We're talking people can make six figures just figuring out better ways to talk to a computer to get the best kind of output. This is going because now my friends are like, oh, what should I tell my kid to go into? I'm like, I don't know. I'm not magic. I don't know like what I can't see in the future, but this is going to create so many new things that we don't even understand yet. So this will make a lot of good opportunities, I think.
Absolutely,
Mhm.
absolutely. And I love, love, love that the people who are embracing it, like I used to do computer classes in my basement of the church because
Mhm.
there were a few people that were brave enough to learn how to do computers use playing solitaire, right?
Mhm.
So, but those people were able to advance relatively quickly than others when it came to using computers for their jobs. And so
Mhm.
you just if you're in the market, you know, if you're career based, you're career focused, like learning this tool adds to your resume. Learning this tool, being able to walk in and use these tools effectively, that's a
Um,
thing.
yeah, there are some let's see. And I'll give you guys some at the end too, but even thinking about the ways in which I've seen this make my job a lot less stressful has been really nice. Even from silly things like I'm sure every when you're making things for like marketing tools, like making
Mhm,
like stock photos and things, have you ever
mhm.
had this problem where you're looking for one of the tools that I would say in addition ChatGPT, Site Explainer, one that I use very frequently for stock photos is like Midjourney.
Okay.
I know Midjourney has gotten a lot of like stuff, but when we're talking about in different art styles, what I use it for is actually uh, because a lot of stock websites do not have a lot of people of color on there. It's very frequent when you're looking for. I was making a newsletter for one of my clients, and we just needed a photo to use that showed people of different races in business attire at a lunch table. That's it,
Mm,
right? I have 4 subscriptions to paid stock photo sites, couldn't find it. I needed
mm,
to use, AI to be able to and, um, it's one of the question marks because it's like, what I would love to see more, Black and brown people being used uh, in that kind of stuff,
right.
but it's not there.
Right.
So
So
and I
yeah,
need to do
so you have to be the creator. You have to
Mhm.
create what you don't see, right? Because
Yeah.
of that, because as as you see more diverse ads and as the advertisements start to look like the people is serving,
Mhm.
then there's going to be the need to have inclusive backgrounds or inclusive photos that
Or
people can
even
use all types of ways.
yeah, and this is just before I just forgot about it. I wanted to put that there because I guess with with ChatGPT, with Site Explainer, with Midjourney, it's really easy to do a lot of creation.
Hmm.
Um, I think in general, this one I would be a little bit more careful with. Again, you don't want to do anything too crazy about uh, with Midjourney, as with other stock photo things, you can use them commercially. You can use the pictures and things commercially. You do not own that photo. Like any stock photo
Right.
site, it'll work like this. But it will also cut down the time for any of the business owners out there who need to make like some quick photo things or to do any kind of really fast editing like that.
And
But
so while you're talking about, so what are the pros to using this? Like we've talked about several, but when you think about it, what are the top pros? One off the bat is time.
Mhm. Variety, because I can tell something like if we're talking about ChatGPT even or something, I mean, the kinds of ways. So, okay, I was approaching a DEI consultant, right? And I was approaching a few at once. I had some time to research her. I knew her book, and I wanted to get some feedback on how she might be unique, or if it was a person that would align with the values that I have, right?
Mhm.
I was able to plug in the book into ChatGPT and have it give me a breakdown of the book, of the lessons of the book. And I asked it to give me a spit out of how is her DEI approach different from other DEI in the space. Give me some examples of things that she's done or like XYZ things just based on the information. If you're talking about learning, one of the things I did and one of the things I've been playing with, you read a book a while. I read two kinds of books: industrial psychology and behavioral economics and sci-fi.
Okay.
Obviously, I don't need to like go back on the sci-fi stuff too often, but for industrial psych and behavioral economics, that you might have read a while ago, maybe you forgot an experiment, maybe you forgot like a style or a way that you can apply some of those things to yourself. I threw into ChatGPT, can you please give me a breakdown and a chart, the lessons taught in the book? Give me the more simplified example or sample of what that title could be, and also
Hmm.
give me some examples of how I can apply these features or apply these lessons in my regular day-to-day life or with my business, right?
Hmm.
And it did. It took it like 2 minutes. I had my favorite book is The Art of Choosing by Sheena Iyengar.
Okay.
She has a lot of behavioral economics and industrial psychology research studies. You might remember her as the person who did the jam study of what people do when they are presented with 6 jams versus 24. But I couldn't remember some of the other studies, some of the more expansive studies she had done. So I wanted it to give me a quick breakdown, explaining to people. So whether you're learning as a business person from other if you're trying to learn other concepts that will help you in your business, it is very good at that. Whether you're trying to approach your clients, it's very good at that. When we're talking about something like Midjourney, if you're trying to get content out or try to approach other people, trying to be more, um, you know, diverse, I would say, in your approach, you can do things like that. Um, Using these tools, it's really about um, where another team might have like 10 designers or 10 copywriters that can do that thing. And if you're a small business owner or a solopreneur kind of person, these are things that take my weekday for the kinds of things that I've done. I'm the kind of person who is working every day, right? Once these tools became more openly accessible, 4 days a week is fine for me, right?
Yeah.
I manage a
Yeah.
team of 15 people. I can now get my work done and get my stuff done in a much shorter amount of time. I did um, one newsletter would usually take me with probably about maybe 20 entries, would typically take me a research time of about 15 hours. Cut that down, I finished within 2 hours. I was done a topic like that,
Absolutely.
right?
And right, and it's the same for me because I write business plans, and
Mhm.
so for me to do a business plan, the research part takes about 10 hours.
Yes.
Takes about 10 hours just to do the research part, and then now to be able to get it in a few minutes, that's like half the time
Yeah.
to do the
And
business plan.
And so for the people who haven't used ChatGPT yet, remember that anytime you're asking for information, please give it a persona, just so you can understand the ease of use with it. So whether you're trying to get, I think were we talking about the social media stuff
Yeah,
before?
we had earlier, and I'm gonna, yeah, Laura. So yes, you'll get to be able to see this, do the replay of this, and find out about the Chat GPT and all that. She did a great explaining what they all do when we started, and so go back and do the replay so you can. Yes, it will be available for you here again. But
Mhm.
we're talking about, so when you talk about the social media part, like if you're doing social media, anything,
Mhm.
right? If you want to have some great ideas, if you tell it, I am Laura is a pet seller.
Mhm.
She will come to your house and sit your pet, so your pet stays home, and she comes in and she waters it, feeds it, takes it for a walk if needed, and make sure if it's any meds or anything it needs, then she will put that information. And she will make sure get your mail in just like you're at home, and keep
Mhm.
things going. And your pet doesn't have to go to a kennel or somewhere where is with other animals or whatever. And so she helps her pet right, Paul Wright is a pet sitting service. So if she was trying to do some TikTok videos, or if she wanted some suggestions on what could she do to do anything, then she could use this information, and it would give her suggestions on creating content that would find the people that she's looking for with the pets that she works with, because she works with birds and pets and dogs, and she does snakes, she does it all. So
You're better than me.
yeah,
Like,
but she worked at a zoo, so she
okay.
and it was the perfect place for her. When I tell you she loves animals, she loves all animals. So yeah.
Yeah. So this is like I can put in a sample prompt if that works, like for
Yeah,
this kind of thing.
yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
So let's say we're doing a simple, I'll give a few, but the first one I'm going to give is just about getting advice.
Hmm.
So here to get advice, it's going to look something, I'm sorry, I typed these out already. I'm going to ask it. So one of the things you want to do, especially if you're using the free version, you are going to want to make sure that ChatGPT is with you.
Yes.
ChatGPT, it's not perfect. It's still a machine, right? On the paid version, and the difference is the free version is version 3.5. The paid version is version 4. Okay.
Hmm.
Um, Occasionally with a 3.5, the longer your chat is, it might forget a little bit of a point. So you want to constantly go back and remind it like, hey,
Look at the other.
okay, do
Yeah,
you remember
yeah.
this? Okay. Um, so here for getting advice, I'm going to ask ChatGPT, I want you to act as an expert in, and you could say like, I want you to act as an expert in business consulting. I want you to act as an expert in social media management. Whatever the field is, you can just fill that in there. And then I say, okay, ChatGPT will confirm, and then you tell it, tell it your company, tell it the field, and then the other things that you're doing. And I want you to give me advice on, and then tell it what you want it to do. So tell it you want, give me advice on the type of social media content I should be posting. Give me advice on what kinds of questions, FAQs I should have on my website. You can ask it to create the filler content for your landing page. If you're like, so maybe you're working with a web designer. One of the things that I love my clients. They're all amazing. They're beautiful people, every single one of them. But sometimes one of the things when you're a designer, you're a developer, people are busy, especially the small businesses, right? They don't have time to give you so they'll ask you, make me a design, and I'm like, well, but can you help me? What do you do? Give me an idea of what should be here, right? You can go to ChatGPT, you could tell it the services that you offer, the kinds of things that you want to do, the kind of image or clients that you want to do. Give me filler, create a sample landing page content for me, and it will do that for you. It will fill it like fake FAQs for you and things like that. You can definitely go back, fix it as you want it. Please don't copy and paste just directly from ChatGPT. Please add your personalized flair. We're not trying to be. I know we want to do a one-click solution, but it will be better if you look it over and read it over first. But this will help you to do the outline. As Linda mentioned before, this is a great jumping off point for a lot of the kinds of things that you do. Even let's say I want you to act as an interview consultant, and you can tell it the kind of interview you're going for, what your background is. My partner was redoing his resume. We had to give some feedback on how he could make his he's a classical pianist. His resume is not exactly as streamlined in the verbiage as it could have been. So we had to put him. We had to cut down on the kinds of the language, and made it seem not seem. We made it much more clear about
Yeah,
he's talking to non-musicians about what he does. So we had it
absolutely.
come out with like, okay, I want to talk to a non-musician. How would I need to do
How
for
would I
this?
express this? Exactly. And
Yeah.
that's the thing, because like when I was telling you that I teach math, most of the people who come to that course, they didn't finish school. We know that. And so
Mhm.
I don't know what levels they didn't finish school, right? Some didn't finish and they only have a sixth grade reading ability. And then some didn't finish and it was like 2 weeks before graduation. But when I'm trying to explain those problems, I needed to put it so that everyone in the room understands it.
Mhm.
And this has been wonderful, wonderful in helping me to describe problems at a level that everyone in the room can understand.
Yeah. Yeah, it's beautiful in that. I love it for all of these things. Um, so I'll give you another a common thing. The
Mhm.
other common one that we talked about was with the social media planning. So here is a here is a great time where you're going to want to use Site Explainer. So as you're talking about, if the pet sitter has a website, definitely please use the Site Explainer just because it'll be a little bit easier for you. But so what I would do here, this other prompt. Linda, can you post
Yes.
these prompts in
Yes.
the
Yes.
okay,
I'm sorry.
sorry.
I don't know where I was. I stepped out for a minute. I do that.
It's
Who
Sunday. It's
knows?
fine. Yeah, I
Got
think
it.
we're all getting hype. Is anybody else watching the Love Is Blind finale later or the reunion? Get like hyped later? That's where my mind has been going all day today. Like, oh, I wonder. But it's terrible.
So it put it in YouTube had it in 3 columns. So YouTube, yours is gonna look a little chopped up, but I've already added.
I can also make like a Google Doc later that's available if that's better to give you guys
Absolutely.
an easier one. Okay. So here, what I do is with the prompt that I have here, like I can ask, you can even ask ChatGPT to do things in charts. So what I have it do is I have it create a chart that will give me the date of, let's say that I wanted to do a social media management calendar for May. Okay.
Hmm.
I tell I want you to act as a social media manager. I want you to create a social media content posting table that includes the following. And I post actually the site explainer explanation that I got from there. And then I say in column one, I want you to put the date of the post for however many posts I want for the month of May. And column two, I'll say, I'll tell it the social media post itself, the description of what the topic will be. Um, you can ask it, give me ideas for what you think the social media post should be based on what my job is or what my company is.
Hmm.
Or if you have if you talked to it before about some things that it's done, you can also, or maybe you have special events coming up or that kind of thing, but you can put in whatever information you want there. Then you can ask it to create hashtags that you think would, I ask it to include the hashtags. If I'm telling it it's for Black and brown businesses, it'll even include like the Black and brown hands that go like this, or the like the arm and stuff, and like be like, really personal, depending on who I'm talking to. And it does in one prompt, you can get your whole social media management calendar up with some really good ideas. If you don't like the output, you go back and you say, so I do work with a lot of, I work with some companies that do like restorative justice and social justice work. Some words will get you banned. I don't mean curse words or things like that. It's just
Right.
Instagram is not
Somewhere.
friendly
Right.
for some social justice stuff. And so what we'll do is we'll go back and say, actually, instead of that, can you rephrase for all instances of XYZ word, can you please rephrase it to do this, right? And then it will do that. If it stops at any point, just ask it to continue. It'll continue the task as you wanted. But this is a really simple way. With this now, there is no excuse anymore for people to be lazy about their social media content. Because then you take this, you get a free Canva account, you're done, you're
I
finished.
know, and that's the other thing. Yeah. So Canvas AI, they call it a magic something.
Mhm,
Like I've used it. I have. I'm speaking for the state of Tennessee um,
mhm.
next month, and I needed to very simplistically give it to tell me, I need to know some things. I am debunking the myths surrounded about grants, right? And
Mhm.
so I asked it to provide me with the reasons, some of the myths that people have, and it did my entire presentation with
See,
graphics
and
and
it's
everything. I love it.
yeah, it's nice. And so, and for anybody who is a social media manager who just heard me say this thing and who's getting scared, don't worry because this doesn't plan.
We still
This,
need you. We still,
yeah, no, we still need social media managers. Social media managers are not going anywhere. This will make your job easier, and it'll make it easier for you to be able to handle other kinds of services for your clients as well. Because even if it will give you an idea for things to make. It's not going to make them. It's ChatGPT.
exactly,
You are going to
exactly.
make things that are like, because even as a person who does graphic design, as a person who does animation, things like this will give me an idea. but I'm the creator. Right? So like
Absolutely. You
this
still
is
get to
not
be
going to be as good as me.
exactly, exactly. And
Yeah.
that's the thing that I like about it. Like it's just think of it as a jump start.
Hmm.
Like you don't have to go too deep in your brain to think of, if you get stuck. Because I know every creator out there, you've ran into a problem where, okay, how do I just start? If I could just
Yeah.
start, then I can take it from there.
If I could just have that like that
Yeah,
point right there, it'd be great.
exactly, exactly. And that's how it's been really, really good for me. So I wear all kind of hats, but one of the hats, I love creating content. I love, posting social media. I love, but I'm a social media marketer too.
Mhm.
So I have that as one of my hats. But
So you're going to be able to ask a lot better questions than I could too, right? So even just you being with that background, again, ChatGPT is only as good as what you put into it. So
right,
if you have a better understanding of how to get people's, the rules now of ChatGPT is only so updated on how fast Instagram changes or how
exactly,
fast it's
exactly.
the bane of everybody's existence. Like, oh my God, again.
Again,
So,
algorithms,
like,
the algorithms. but
yeah.
but yeah,
Games about it at
but
night.
understanding that and understanding, it's fun. It's like a
Mhm.
game. Like some people, like we talked about D&D, which, which
Do you play D&D?
no, you and I talked about
Oh yeah,
D&D.
yeah. I was like,
Let's
okay, yeah. I was like, did you start since that'd be amazing.
no, I'm still working on getting Sims. Right, we talked about me doing Sims, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Step one.
Step one, absolutely. So yeah, but even if you are, I mean, to me, it's equivalent. Getting in there and playing around and seeing what content and getting it to refine and get exactly what I need. Like I get the same adrenaline somebody plays games probably gets. Like that's my adrenaline. I love creating that stuff. I love getting
Yeah.
there for hours. I'm not up to 20 hours yet. Not 20 consecutive
I
hours.
mean, me with the and yeah, with the 20 hours, I think the ChatGPT, it's 20 hours in a row, like in a very short time. So whoever was in the call, they had been, I don't think they slept very much that day. Like I have not, since these tools even became available, I haven't touched my, for anybody who games, I have a really nice Steam Deck. It has my Sims 4 on there. I have paid a lot of money to get like all my stuff on there. And I've been playing too much with ChatGPT and these other things and prompt engineering to be able to. I haven't touched my Steam Deck in like 2 months. I'm very sad. Not sad. I'm having fun, but I'm just
I know, but
very.
I would imagine it's that same adrenaline, right? It's the same, So I can and play. So if you're watching this in the replay or you're watching it live, go play. Like the more you know, what I have asked people to do is go to YouTube and look at some videos to help people to kind of get your mind frame around how to use the
Oh,
tool. Go ahead.
sorry. That reminds me of another tool that we should tell people about too. Did we
Okay.
talk about the YouTube summary?
No,
But I gave that to you when we talked last time, right?
no.
Oh, okay. Oh my gosh, this is the so another really great thing for anybody who uses Chrome. Sorry, I'm pulling this
See,
up.
I told him you were gonna bring all the goods.
Yeah, and it's just like I these are now a part of my everyday, so I forget that they're like not always there. So this one I really like it because what it does, it'll create an extension. Can I actually I can't share screen. Can I share screen or no?
Yeah, you can. Let
Oh,
me see
okay.
here.
So I'm
Go
gonna
ahead, share away.
okay.
In fact, I'll go out so you can share. So it'll be bigger.
Okay. Okay, so guys, so what I'm going to show you is, and ignore the nerdy stuff. Again, I do play a lot of like Sims and do stuff like that. But so, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go here to a tutorial. Um, Sometimes you're on, so let's say you're on YouTube and you find something and you just don't look. We all have this moment. I don't have the time. I don't want to watch the video. I just want to hear what's going on and what's happening, right? So what I'm going to do now with this tool, So this is the extension, the Chrome extension that I put in the chat. What it does is it opens up the transcript and summary, this rainbow button up here. It also has a ChatGPT button. It also has a copy and paste. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually press the copy button, or you can press this ChatGPT button, and what it'll do is it'll automatically copy and paste the transcript directly into ChatGPT, but with a very specific prompt. It will ask it, can you please summarize the following? I don't necessarily want it to summarize the following because the summary is not going to be as useful to me as these other things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go here. Um, I'm going to go to my ChatGPT 4 because I love my ChatGPT 4 very much, and I'm going to ask it, uh, can you please turn this transcript uh, into a step-by-step guide? And so what it's going to do here, it takes the transcript. Oh, okay. Let me try this in 3.5. Sorry, it doesn't usually do that. And I've definitely turned, I'm gonna put this here. And sorry, I may have done a lot today, so I apologize. Please, okay. Please turn this into a step-by-step guide. Okay, I think there might be a problem with the, sorry, I think there might actually be a problem with ChatGPT because I've done this a few times. If I could, oh, okay. So typically what happens if it's not, so here I already actually have the same tutorial, and it's in ChatGPT 3.5. Okay. It gives a summary right here, but I'm going to ask it, turn the transcript into a step-by-step guide. And so here is what it's going to do. So after I can copy and paste the transcript from the YouTube and from the Google Chrome extension, it will actually allow me to take that transcript and instead of having to watch the whole video, I can now have a step-by-step guide of how to do it, right? And so this is very useful if you're trying to learn new skills using YouTube. Sometimes you have a long course or anything like that. I think right now the server might be overloaded. That's one problem with OpenAI is during some busy times, it can be a little bit, there can be some issues. However, there are some other extensions you can use to avoid using OpenAI, or if you're a nerd like so for my team, we've created our own server to be able to handle this, and that's something that you can do either if you have a web developer or anything like that. They can actually implement something like that within it doesn't take very long. We're talking about less than an hour of coding, but they could create their own server to make it and also like I think it's probably under like $5 a month to be able to do that. But this is just because I'm doing it within the OpenAI website itself. Um, but this helps me to very easily and very quickly take all of the lessons I would learn from this. You can also, if you are a person who has any videos yourself within YouTube, any kind of content you've created, this can also be able to create new content. So one of the things that my brother did, he had a TED Talk. And so one of the things we wanted to do was to take his TED Talk and we wanted to turn this into a course. And so and even from taking into a course or okay, so here, oh, and this is I think with the web stuff, sorry. Sorry, scrolling. Okay, so from my brothers using the same extension, what I did was I copied and pasted his TED Talk, James the Third, Money Lessons from Scam Artists. I put it in here using that. And I asked it, my prompt that I used at the top, though, was turn this transcript into a syllabus. And this is if you're a person who is going to take videos that you've done and you want to turn them into If you want to make like a PowerPoint presentation for your site, if you want to do like an audio recording of any kind of course based on some other content that you're doing, if you're trying to find other ways to use content that you've already made, you can actually use this and then turn it into something like this. Where so now we took his, it's about a 13-minute TED Talk video, and we were able to turn this actually into a week by week course description. Then I asked for it to give me more detail about weeks 1 through 3. And I was able to have it break it down. Week 1, it broke it down to lessons 1.1 to 1.3, and the same for the others. And I asked it to just continue with the following weeks. But we were able to take something that he did. You can even ask ChatGPT, please take this information from my video from YouTube and turn it into short bullet points for social media. Maybe you're promoting something that you've taught before or that you've talked about from YouTube. Maybe you're, later when this goes on YouTube and you want to have people understand what's going on about it or anything and turning this into extra content. You can even have this populate your transcript, create content from that transcript, whether it's social media cues or blog posts or anything like that. It's pretty useful. I really love, but this YouTube, actually, let me put this here again. So YouTube, this YouTube Chrome extension is probably one of my favorite tools and the tool that I use most frequently because a lot of my clients do have other content they've created. So
Wow, I'm blown. I'm sitting here thinking, oh man, I did a TED talk. Wait a minute, I could have made that to a course, and then I'm thinking my book, and
and especially if you're using this and you're putting it on YouTube later, like you can do so much with this. So sorry. And these are the things
hey,
that I do with my day instead of playing my video games and instead of taking Sims. I've just been doing this. Um,
gracious, I have so many. I have over 100 videos on YouTube, girl,
so
girl.
you can now turn it into a blog post. You can say, take this transcript, turn it into a blog post. You can tell it the length that you want it. Again, as we talked about, the level of thing that you want it to be. But even having that little plugin and all it does is create a transcript. But because of that, you can create so many more things using ChatGPT.
Man,
It's like
completely blown.
um, the other thing that I did not, that I saw that was popping up there that I forgot to put there, there's also a tool. There's something called Web ChatGPT. One of the criticisms that people have with ChatGPT is that it does not connect to the internet, right?
Hmm.
Supposedly. However, there are extensions that you can use to get it to do that. Let's say that I want more updated information or updated nuance about a topic or a subject or something. I'm either, again, if I'm researching a new client, researching something for myself, or doing whatever, this other extension that I put in here is called Web Chat GPT. And you can actually list the number of sources you would like it to find for you to create or form an idea. So when it gives you content, when it gives you these kinds of things, you know, okay, ChatGPT, again, is not AI. It's a predictive text tool, correct? So it learns things based on how things might relate to each other or how it's seen things connected. ChatGPT can give you correct information, but then lie about the citations and the sourcing of it, which can be
Right,
like, there was
exactly.
this really scary one on TikTok where this doctor is like asking it, well, what do you think this will? And ChatGPT was correct about the diagnosis of the woman based on how many other women had experienced similar symptoms, but also had other related symptoms and features to it, right? But then when he asked, well, can you please tell me what your citations are, what your sources are for this? ChatGPT lied.
Yeah,
It made up
yeah.
some like Swedish study or something. Um, Using something like this Chrome extension, Web Chat GPT, helps you to have more correct information and to pull from actually like good sources when you're trying to get your information together. So these are the YouTube extension, Web ChatGPT. If you start to use ChatGPT more frequently and you need to have more newsletters, more updates, more things like this is a really good one to have.
I love it. I love it. I'm gonna have to go back and have all those windows open so I can add those
Yeah.
Chrome extensions, right? But yeah,
Oh,
this is mind blowing. I mean, it really,
it,
really is. So, in closing, ma'am, what would you like the audience to walk away from this whole event?
What I hope is that so I will put again. I'm going to send Linda some a Google document with some easy prompts and things that you guys can use with ChatGPT and some of these other stuff. I don't want people to be overwhelmed with these new accessible AI tools because honestly, it scares me a lot if I think about the amount of small businesses that will not look at it and will talk about it or think about it as something that's too overwhelming for them, right? This can only benefit your business more. It can only save you more time and make you better for your clients, make you better for the people you're working with. If you're a person who's in school and you're doing research, if you need to make flashcards, if you do like basic stuff like this, this is really it's a great tool, and other things like this that are out there. Yeah, I hope that you guys get energized a little bit too. If anybody goes down the rabbit hole of prompting, though, I'm really sorry. I had bags under my eyes for days. I really hope that you have better, like you can have better composure than I do. But I tend to go a little bit hard.
So yeah, so
So,
my name is Linda Murray Bullard. They call me the business plug. And this evening I've plugged you into artificial intelligence. Grab, grab all these different tools that she shared with us. Go back and and listen to the replay. Like you're going to be I just up leveled your business. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Jen, for your yes. I really, really appreciate this conversation. And we'll see you guys next Sunday at 7 p.m. here on the Business Plugs Mixer. Have a great week, everyone.